ladies, one more time. Thank you so much for agreeing and giving your consent to be part of my study. And of course, it is very, very important topic for all of us. So as I mentioned earlier, this training is going to be recorded and I'm going to be sharing it with my tutors in Oxbridge College, my bad. And yeah, what I actually want us to do, girls, forget that it is being recorded. It is very important topic for all of us, very relevant topic for all of us. So let's actually forget the reason we are doing it and let's focus about the material. So as I said, super, super important and very important to practice all this that we're going to be learning. Feel free to interrupt me at any time, ask questions, any examples you might have. So let's begin. So today we are going to be discussing how the circumstance, the environment can affect the child's development, the way they learn and the way they grow. So this is very important, as I mentioned about EYFS. So EYFS says each child is unique. Each child has individual needs. So we can't just say 2-3-year-olds are the same. Moreover, no 2-year-olds are the same. We can't just take the guide of the milestones and say, okay, a 2-year-old needs to say 5,000 words. How come this child doesn't say 5,000 words? Is there something? But no, we need to understand completely the child, the background of the child, the health of the child, the abilities of the child, the circumstance. So that is the topic. Okay, ladies, so let's begin. We all know that children develop in their own way, in their own time, physically, socially, emotionally, language-wise, etc. For example, a 3-year-old who still prefers parallel play is completely normal. Or a 2-year-old that is doing one thing is normal, is okay, is acceptable. We need to be acceptable and flexible towards everyone. So that's why it's super, super important for us as educators to make sure we do constant observations to make sure where our children reach with the milestones. And if there is anything we can do to support the learning of a child. So impact of individual circumstances. So this part, I need your involvement as well. I want you to think, girls, what can affect the child's development, the way they learn and the way they grow. So for example, home life. Is the child being loved? Is the home life stable? We all know children love routine. So, or the other hand, is the child being neglected? Is there too many people? So our role as an educators to make sure we give a positive reinforcement, role modeling, routine to the child. And of course, we need to make sure that we work very closely with parents. Communication should be there to understand. Because, for example, if the home life of a child, let's say the child being neglected, that can negatively affect the child. So the child can be very self-confident, not self-confident, the other way. So can be a little bit shy, didn't want to mingle with others, didn't want to just be part of the group, right? So us as educators, first we need to assess the child, make sure that the child, for example, is a little bit shy, let's call that, or doesn't like doing 1 or 2 activities. Then communicate with the parent, how the child behaves in the house, what are the milestones, what do they do usually in their house or in the setting, and just to make sure that we plan accordingly based on our observations. Okay, for example, this child doesn't like to do some sensory activity. This might be because of 1, 2, 3 reasons. So how can I, as an educator, do some sensory activities? Because me, as a qualified teacher, I know how important is sensory in the early years. So maybe I can do some role modeling. maybe I can do some small sensory activities and invite other children to do some activities, make it fun for the children. Another thing, it can be, of course, the health. Health is very important. Some children, they might not receive the nutrition they need to have the energy, to have the cognitive ability. Some children, they don't receive enough of a sleep, which we know in our society is very common. We can see children until 12 a.m., 1 a.m. in the malls running around, which shouldn't be the case in early years, because it's very, very important, depending on the age, to receive the amount of sleep, minimum 8 to 12 hours sleep. A child needs to be able to focus in the morning in the school, to be fully active and ready to learn and observe. So sometimes when parents are coming to me and they're, oh, my child is unable to focus, my first question would be, how many hours the child sleeps? What is the child's diet? Is the child's diet healthy, etc.? And of course, the child might be having some other health permanent or birth issues, can have some sun influence, some speech delays, some other diagnoses. So us as educators, we just need to be working very closely with parents or other SENCOs or other institutions which were referred by the parents, of course, remembering about the consent. So communication, guys, of course, building our environment for our babies. So each child is unique. Every child has unique needs. Our duty as practitioners is to understand not only the negative sides, like, oh, this child is not saying enough words. Oh, no, this child is not confident enough. This child doesn't know ABCs, etc., etc. But also, yes, the child doesn't know ABCs, but the child knows best pencil controls, pencil grasp. The fine motor skills are really developed. Or the other child might be very talented in the physical skills. So we not only see the negative while doing the observation, which is very important to make sure that the child is achieving, but also the positives, which is very important. We need to make sure that we support the positive. We need to feed the positive. Another thing, which is a big topic, which can be the impacts, right, of individual circumstances, is the language. A lot of us, English is the secondary language, maybe third, fourth, fifth language. So we all come from different places, different culture. Like in this room sitting together, all of us, we are from different places, all of us. So we share common English language and love towards children and education. But other than that, there is a lot of things that is different, such as religion, such as the culture, such as the language, the way we see how to educate our child. So I was mentioning just a little bit about during our other training that it's important to support the parents. It's important to show what EYFS is all about and how can we help the child through the EYFS, bring closer. And this is the milestone, this is the guide, but of course the parents are the first teachers, as Maria Montessori was telling, and the third teacher is the environment. So, of course, the language. So when a child comes to our setting, girls, and the child doesn't speak any English and we don't understand their mother tongue, it's important first to make sure that the child doesn't get I can't remember that word. I keep on saying confidence.
Lack of confidence?
Not confident. Anyways, never mind.
Lack of confidence?
Lack of confidence. Okay, let's turn it. I'm looking for some other words and I'm just escaping my mind.
Confused. Maybe they get confused.
Let's use that word. Thank you, babe. So they can... Confused is now? Okay, fine. Let's like they can a little bit get confused. Not confused, but a little bit upset. Like, what about my tongue? What about all this time that I was talking this language? Now I'm coming to a strange place. Not only the people are different, children are different, materials are different, but also it's a different language. So we need to make sure that the child is being praised for the abilities, the language that it speaks, but also we need to understand the communication. So how do we teach English language? How do we show what we are teaching and how we are teaching? Is we need to use a lot of visual things. such as if we are having about, let's say we are having a circle time, we're talking about animals. So I'll be having some cards with animals to show the children, this is a lion. Lion. What color is lion? And then I'll be showing some other colors. So children usually, they are like sponges. They get information like super, super fast. And hoping with partnership with parents, the language learning shouldn't be a difficult task, should be very fun task. That's why we are there, to make everything a fun task. Now, the other impact, I mean, there are a lot of impacts, but some of the impacts that we are going to be mentioning is their past experiences. Of course, we need to see the child. Anything and everything matters for a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, siblings, grandparents. If a child is living with grandparents, usually what we have seen, what I have seen in my experience, those children are a little bit less confident. They need a little bit more support doing things on their own, like putting the shoes or something, because our grandparents, probably they like doing tasks for us. They love that. That's the way probably they show their love. Some grandparents, of course. So on a note, it's very important to remember when we speak to the children or when we ask them questions, it's important to pause, give them time to think and answer. Some children can be super quick. What color is it? Red. Move on. Some children, they need time. So I read somewhere they need 10 seconds at least before you not even give the answer to them, but kind of encourage them or move closer to the answer. So for example, if I say to the child, how old are you? I'm not going to expect them saying like 2 immediately, right? So some children are a little bit shy. Some children don't want to answer, don't want to talk to strangers, and that's okay. And then I can be like, after a couple of seconds that the child had a chance to understand my question, I'll be like, are you 2, 3, 4? Even if the child doesn't want to talk, it's okay. Give them space, give them time, give them respect. And super important, they'll come to us and then we will have all the questions together. So past experiences can also affect the child's learning, the way they learn, the way they grow. So let's say if the child is traveling with parents, having lovely just connection with them, speaks with them, the child tends to be a bit more confident. If the child is doing some negative things, like past experiences, let's say, I will go a bit dark, but let's say there was an abuse or something that really can affect the child completely in a negative way, right? So we have to assess and observe the child to understand why the child is where the child is. Yeah. And after observation, it is super important. Okay, I observed. I know my child doesn't do 1, 2, 3 because of the ABC. Now, what do I do with that information? I have to plan. Plan a strategy alongside with parents, other co-workers, or Senko or whoever the third party with confidentiality, of course, is involved to make sure that my goal is being achieved by my child from this plan, right? Of course, communicate. And at the end of the day, our task is to create a loving, safe environment for children, for parents, for colleagues, for all of us, right? We all need that. Now, ladies, what I want us to think out loud, I've already went through a couple of things, but what do we do to recognize the stage of a child? What do you think, girls? I want you to unmute yourself. And if you have anything to say, just tell me. So I'll start. What do we do in our setting? Super, super important, a key person, which knows every single detail about the child, knows where the child comes from, what the child needs, and what other things we do to recognize it. What do you think, guys?
I think we should know that from where the child is, like which country, which state, what
How do you do
are
it?
we are going to ask the parents when we meet them. So this is going to be
Communication.
our first question. Again, the communication is very important, and we will ask that from where the kid is, how many siblings he has or she has, and with whom he is living. Is he always living with his parents, with his grandparents? What are his likes and dislikes? And especially the main question, what's their religion? What type of the, everything like related to that kid, that what is his routine? What is he doing at home? This and that, like that.
Exactly. Communication is super, super important. Like tomorrow, which is our orientation day, it's a chance to meet our parents, to ask all the questions, to have a chance to learn about their child. What other things we do in our setting already, guys, to learn? How about observations?
Yeah, we are going to set the goals. We are going to, when we meet the parents, we are going to ask them their concerns also, and we will see that up to what level is that kid, like what we can do more to make that kid be more happy coming to the school, to know what the likes and dislikes of the kid is, what the parents want, what do they want from their baby. So we need to
Yeah,
ask them.
absolutely, absolutely. Good, guys. So observation is also another big part of it. Doing very objective ones, doing very often ones. So in our setting, we do. This is for our new Miss Nahla. Where did she go? I can't see her. Hi, darling. So Miss Nahla. So we have three observations in a term time. We always start from a very light one, as Miss Saida mentioned very correctly, communication with parents, but general understanding of a child. Then in between of a term, when we have a mid-term and mid-meeting with parents, we have our Twitter parent observation, where it's just basically a checklist. We mention the basics, letters, numbers, colors, shapes, the milestones, and of course, the emotional, social side of it, knowledge of a child as per the thing. So we share
So
with
can I add
parents.
something here, Miss, if you allow?
Absolutely, please.
So I think connection communication is the key here to communicate with the parents and assessment. But we can from our side, connecting with the child is also very important. So if you have a very good bond with the child and he or she feels that, oh, she is my best friend here, so the child will definitely open up to you, and she is going to give you more information like the dislikings and likings. I have experienced so many times in my teaching career that even the parents, they get surprised when they got to know, oh my God, she has shared this thing with you. Oh my goodness, how come? So I think connection with the kids is very important here.
Absolutely. Having their trust, having both way trust. And that starts from respecting a child every step. So very, very important topic. Now, what I want us to think about, think out loud, is probably an example. What example of a student that you had that you noticed that the child is not reaching a certain milestone, and I want you to tell me what did you and your team did to support the move, to support the milestone, so that we assure that the child is reaching the sequence of development. So do you have any examples of your students without naming them? Anyone?
Yeah. In the past few months, I had one kid who was not able to. First thing was that he was from different. Totally, it was a language barrier. Also, he,
Language.
yeah, they spoke a different language, totally different. Not even English, not even Urdu, not even Punjabi, not even Hindi. It was a very different language from us. And the second thing that the parent,
Once you notice that the child doesn't speak English, what did you do to help the child integrate in your classroom better?
yeah. So when I had a discussion with the parents, so they told me that they want their kid to, speak uh, English a little bit now because they're living in Dubai and it's very necessary for him also. So, what I did, I used to notice what toys he is holding, or like just supposedly, I can say that he was holding the animal toys. Yeah.
Hmm.
So he used to pick up, just let's say that he was picking up a bear
Yeah.
and he was taking the name of that toy in his own language. So then
Yes.
I got to know, oh, this is what he is trying to say, that he is saying bear in his own language. So
Yes.
what I started to do, I used to sit with him, and even I told my team also that whenever you are sitting with him or he's playing with the toys, just try to repeat the words. If he's saying the same specific word about the toy, just repeat, it's a bear, it's a bear. And
Yeah.
then 2 or 3 months, I noticed that he tried to, speak the words also. He understood that, okay, he doesn't know definitely that this is English or what, but he knows
Yeah.
that the teacher is saying this word. So this is that specific toy, which is called a bear. So
Absolutely correct. So what Miss Saida did is not only recognize that there is a little bit push needed with language, but you went to the child's world with the child's interest. So you not only put everyone together, circle time, okay, this is a bear, this is a bear,
yeah,
but you went to the world of a child, which is very nice, to his interest, and you help to translate the world by him showing very good example. What other examples, girls, of probably individual circumstance that you saw that affected the child's learning, that you saw and what you did? What other examples can you think of?
So can I share?
Absolutely, Miss Farhin. Yes.
Okay, so I was having, as you mentioned so many times before, like every child, they learn different ways. They have their own time, so they bloom different in different times. So maybe, so I was having a math class, and I was introducing the shape circle to my class. So
Mm-hmm.
what we used to do, we used to sit on the mat and I show them the, the flashcards or what the visual aid,
You had the
whatever.
flashcard
Different.
ready.
So
Very nice.
I, when I was showing them the flashcard, so most of them could, identify, but I noticed that one or two, they were having difficulties
Mm-hmm.
while identifying the circle shape. They was a bit confused. Then I went back to my homework. I did homework and research, and I sat to that child one on one, and I understand that that child is a music lover, so he learns through music. So here I had to focus on the multiple intelligence. So, okay, so I need to incorporate music in my lesson plan, and I had to go for differentiated learning. Maybe the visual aid is not working for this child. So I came up with song like I'm a circle, I go round and round and round. You can see me everywhere. I go round and round and round. So the child
Hey. Well done,
so
darling.
when the child is listening and visualing, okay, the circle goes round and round and round. It's in her head, and she can imagine the shape through the song. That clicked her. And also, like those who are kinesthetic, like bodily kinesthetic learners, those who are more bodily, so for them I used play-dohs. So for them, they mold play-dohs, they roll play-dohs, they squeeze play-dohs, and then they do round and round and round and round and round, and then spat, and then they made the circle shape. So That's how I learned that I need to identify need of every child one-on-one through multiple applying the multiple intelligence over here, and also to reach the goal I need to achieve my goal by I differentiated adapting differentiated learning for the strategies.
Absolutely brilliant. Very well done. Anyone else, ladies? What do you think? So Miss Farhin, what she did, interest of the child, individual child, make the learning fun using Play-Doh, using song. So again, the learning is not like, okay, have a seat, 1, 2, 3, ABC. It needs to be fun. It must be fun for teachers and for students as well. So that's what exactly Miss Farhin did. Well done. Well done. Who else can share an experience that you have noticed a child that needed a little bit of a support, and what did you do? What do you think? Miss Avi, do you have any examples? Miss Natla, Miss Ansu, do you have any examples? Miss Sharmin, do you have any examples? I know you are a bit camera shy maybe, but let's forget the recording. It is important topic, guys. So what do we think? Did we had any student that was not reaching quite the milestone and we wanted them to reach, and we change ourselves or environment? So some children, I remember having a child was very sensitive to the white noise and the white effects probably, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember that my classroom, when I was a teacher, I like some colors and decoration. So it was quite heavily decorated. And I remember the child was a little bit feeling discomfort. So I changed my entire classroom. I removed the decorations. I make sure that the child is comfortable in the setting. Is because when you are comfortable, when you are calm, I think Ms. Farhin was mentioning earlier, then the child only can trust you, learn, and only that's when the child is growing and your communication is growing. So any other examples, girls, you can think about?
Yeah, I had one kid who was like just we were discussing that he was in a different world when he reached to the school. It was his first day, and secondly, like we were discussing before, that they are used to their parents, they are used to their grandparents or their families. So when he saw the unfamiliar place, unfamiliar faces, so again, the parents told me that obviously they had their concerns that he is not into extracurricular curricular activities. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to focus on that. So what I did, but I noticed that when he came to the class, uh, he didn't wanted to even sit in the classroom. He used to just stand, and then just, even if I'll try, he'll be like, "No, I don't want." So I I knew that, okay, yeah, I have to make him comfortable in the place, in this place where he's coming every day. So I used to, but if he was standing, so I used to stand with him until the time he uh got familiar with me. It happened 1 or 2 days, but then later on, then he started walking, sitting nicely, eating on his own, going to the play area.
Yeah.
When again, the first time he went to the play area, he was like, "Oh, what's that? I don't know. I don't want to do that." But then when he saw the other kids, and then he saw me playing with him, like going to the different, see the rides or the things we have in the play area. So
Yeah.
I held his hand, took him to the different things, and then slowly, day by day, he got used to it, and then he, he used to
And enough. You
enjoy
couldn't
coming to
take
the
him out from
school.
play area.
Yeah, that was the
Uh,
thing then.
Super,
So
absolutely agree. So it's very important for us, number one, to be very patient with
yeah,
parents, with children,
yeah,
extremely parents with the patient with children, because we need to follow their phase, not our like quick, chop, 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 pop, because sometimes
yeah,
we are in a rush. Always we are in a rush. We're always late from something or somewhere. And I always say it's not important the result, it's important the way you reach it. So when you are making an activity, we were just discussing it like 30 minutes back before this one. Like you are doing activity, you are doing the monkey face. I don't want to see the monkey face. I want to know, how did we reach to the monkey face? Did you communicate with your child? What did you learn? Did you learn about the color of the eyes? Did you learn about the number of the eyes? What did you exactly learn, rather than seeing the picture? The picture is nice, beautiful, absolutely. An individual for each of us. But yeah, I mean, talking about individual, if I ask you right now, girls, to draw a tree, I'm very sure all of us, we are going to be drawing super different trees, very different.
Yeah.
That shows how different we are, how different our children are. So that's why we have to really dive into very deep of the needs of the child, of the characters of the child, of where they come from and why they are the way they are. So just summarizing what we have learned today, girls, it's every child is different. Every child is unique. We have to be very patient. We have to communicate with parents or colleagues or whoever is guardian. And we just need to make sure that we understand the child. We praise what the child knows. We support what the child needs. We need to understand where the child is coming from, his home life, his health, if there is anything we need to do. So we were talking about a student we had earlier who was on a wheelchair. So what did we do in our setting? We just move all the tables so that there is enough space for the child. We need to understand the language, the background, the religion, the culture, the traditions that they are coming from, the past experiences, etc. So understanding, observing, very important. More important is planning and doing something with that information. Yeah. So super, super important topic, ladies. What I really need you to do is, after the training, I'm not going to record that part because we're over time anyways. But what I want you to do and what I want you to share in our group is 3 things. Thing number 1, what did you learn from this topic? Number 2, is there anything you learned and you are going to be practicing in our setting, in your classrooms? Number 3, how this topic made you to reflect on your class. So would you, when you start the term on the 3rd September, which is like what are we today? 1st September, in 2 days, are you going to be looking at your children individually? When tomorrow you have an orientation, are you going to be looking at your parents individually and trying to understand, show sympathy, empathy, where they come from? What religion, as Ms. Saida was mentioning, what tradition, what culture, what beliefs, what goals do you have? So very important. And also from our side as management, it's very important to understand what my teachers need. So if you feel anything you need, feel free to communicate with me, my lovelies. Again, any questions now, question time about the topic or about the previous topics, orientation, feel free. Anything. All was clear?
Yes, Miss.
Miss Anso, you were too quiet today throughout the entire meeting. But that's okay. Okay, lovely ladies. Thank you so much for joining me this
Thank you so much,
Friday
Miss.
and the other one. It
Thank
was
you, ma'am.
very nice seeing you all faces, and I hope I'm gonna be there in September or October, probably October actually. And I can't wait to meet you. Miss Nahla is already